Let me tell you why you're here.
I've seen things.
Oh my god.
Whoa, yeah! You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Guaranteed to jack you up.
Yo, what is going on, my dudes? It's your host, LamarStaysWeird, coming to you once again with another podcast. Now, I'm very excited to be talking about this film because it's been one I wanted to talk about immediately, and I did bring it up in the last podcast as well, saying how I really want to cover the movie. When I was watching it, I couldn't help but immediately want to take notes, and I normally don't do that, especially during a brand new movie that I'm watching for the first time. I don't try to do that. I try to watch and just enjoy it like a regular person. I'm glad I'm not to that point where, oh, I can't turn off my brain to watch a movie. I'm always in like content creation mode and stuff like that. And I'm glad I'm not there. So that's good. But I hope you guys are doing well. We're in December. Christmas cheer is here. I love this time of the year. The weather is fantastic here in Florida. I'm digging it. I'm loving the cold. So I hope wherever you guys are that you're listening to me, you're staying warm, enjoying the weather. If you guys are lucky enough to get snow, I'm fucking jealous. I really wish I could get some snow. But I don't want to harp too long because I really do want to get into this movie. Like I said, I was very excited to talk about it. This movie is incredible, and only for the fourth film of this director, which is pretty amazing. And they did have another movie, but it's not the type of movies I like to watch, so I probably won't catch that one, but maybe one day I could be talked into watching it. Who knows? Today we are talking about The Substance. Now, this movie came out earlier this year, 2024, September 20th. So if you have that as a birthday, congratulations. You share it with an amazing horror film that I think everybody should watch at least once and probably watch it again, because there's just so much there. There's so much to intake. This movie is so rich. It's deep. There's a lot. And half the fucking planet can probably relate to this film. Now, I am going to give you a bit of a warning. So yes, this movie is about 2.5 hours. I believe it's 2 hours and 21 minutes to be exact. It is a good chunk of time, but it is worth it. I'm constantly intrigued throughout the whole thing. I am ready to see what's happening next. I'm interested in what this character is going through, even though I don't relate to this character and their lifestyle whatsoever. And I'm going to get into the synopsis and all that in just a second, but I just really wanted to talk about that. So if you guys are listening to this and you've never heard of The Substance, you should definitely watch it before listening to me talk about it. But this is the non-spoilery section about it. So by all means, you can chill around here for a little bit and then eventually come back to the episode, and I'll give you a warning when we are going to get into spoilers. I'm just going to go ahead and get into the cast, because honestly, there's only really 3 people to really talk about that we kind of focus on in this movie. But we have Elizabeth, who is played by Demi Moore. A lot of people know Demi Moore. She's had an extensive career and has been in the limelight for as long as I can remember. But a lot of people know her from the 90s, Ghost, acting opposite of Patrick Swayze, where they had that little sexy moment of, doing the fucking clay, like doing that thing, like just, churning butter type of style. That is the only movie I can really think of that made people want to fuck a ghost. And I don't blame them, because it's Patrick Swayze. Come on. He's such a handsome and talented dude. And as far as I know, from what I remember, he's always been like incredibly nice. And I don't know, homeboy was a catch, gone too soon. Like, RIP to the legend. I loved him in Point Break. But she wasn't in just that. Where I got my first exposure to Demi Moore was Charlie's Angels 2, Full Throttle. She was the villain in that movie. A hot villain at that. Just all babes. If you guys like a chick movie, that is an awesome action chick movie, okay? That is where, actually, those movies alone is partially where I got my crush on the one and only Drew Barrymore. Got a crush on her, Lucy Liu as well, and then Cameron Diaz. They're all incredible. It's just very attractive women fighting each other, and it's action packed. It's funny. There's a lot of cool shit in there. Love that movie. Awesome. But yeah, that was my first exposure to Demi Moore. And then now, the person acting opposite of Demi Moore, who plays Sue, is Margaret Qualley. I first saw her, and I'm sure a lot of people have, in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Quentin Tarantino's movie. She was part of the Manson family going on right there. And that was cool. I honestly expected more out of that movie when it comes to the Manson family, but I had it put in perspective for me recently, and I'm going off a tangent here. Obviously, I'm a bit of a fan of that dark moment in that shook up Hollywood and just, I guess, American history as a whole because of hippies. But in that movie, or at least the history we have around him, was especially Charles Manson, was that he was this charismatic, super smart, and sophisticated dude that just knew how to get to people. But that movie shrinks them down, along with the Manson family who committed the murders. It shrinks them down to just a bunch of fucking hippies. I kind of like that. It's like he took the power away from them and like the lore that surrounds the Manson family. And I'm one of the people who gave into it because I like growing up and hearing about all that and having it depicted in shows, movies, etc. It's like, God, fuck, this was terrible. And it was terrible. But everybody puts them on this bit of a pedestal, including me. Like that, I'm part of that problem as well. Like, oh damn, they went out and did this. Like they're so fucked up. Like they're some of the worst people. You know what I mean? Like I can't really articulate it. And what he did in his movie was just say, hey, they were fucking nobody. They shouldn't be like have this infamous status, like they're like up here. And what they did, no, they did a fucked up thing and they were nobodies. They were fucking hippies. Like that's all they were. Just a bunch of fucking hippies. And that put it in perspective. And I'm like, damn, that makes sense. Honestly, I respect what he did. But enough talking about that. But she was in there. She was also in The Nice Guys that had Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe. If you haven't seen that movie's fucking hilarious. I think that's another like 2-hour movie. So good. 70s detective. It's so good. I would love a Nice Guys too, but I just know we'll never get it. But holy shit, that movie is so funny. Honestly, shouldn't be, but it is. And then she was also in Poor Things that had Emma Stone and Mark Ruffalo and Willem Dafoe. She's doing incredible, which a lot of those people who were like the core Manson family have just gone and blown up. So good for them and everything they're doing. But she did phenomenal in this movie. And I know I use the word phenomenal a lot whenever I'm talking about movies, but no, this movie is so fixated and really hinders on their acting capabilities. Margaret Qualley, Demi Moore, they phone it the fuck in, dude. They went in on this and I absolutely love it. And obviously everywhere fucking loves it because this movie has incredible ratings and everything. The budget of this movie was roughly $17.5 million. And I think that's not including like advertisement and stuff like that. But they made $54.1 million in the box office. And that's not counting people renting it or anything like that to watch it at home. Ridiculous. They did great. Honestly, I think it deserves more than that. But the fact that they did that is amazing in of itself. And before we like get into more of the casting, like there's a reason I'm not in a hurry to talk about that one. I'll get to that in a second. But the rating for this movie is 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb. Now, what really shocks me, and I had to go look at this just now for my research purposes, I rated this movie at 4.5 stars. This movie is sitting at a 3.9 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd with so many reviews. So many. Like, I want to say almost 1 million, like, reviews. I think so. That is awesome, dude. That is so fucking sick. And I know normally I pick my Letterboxd reviews and I feel like there's just too much. They're long paragraphs or whatever. There's just so much to be said about this film. And so I'm not going to bother doing that. I'm going to go with my own thing and go from there. But last and very much least in the casting is Dennis Quaid, who plays Harvey, who is the casting director, like big agent guy. He's like a studio executive in this film. And yeah, his greatest contribution to Hollywood, in my opinion, was fathering Jack Quaid, and Jack Quaid just blessing our screens in both television and film. Love you, Jack Quaid. It was awesome meeting you. I had a great time. But now that we got through the nitty gritty of that a little bit, and we'll get into a bit of the crew later whenever I decide to talk about that. So, synopsis of this film is we have Demi Moore's Elizabeth. Elizabeth is an aging actress who is the host of this workout, I guess, amazing morning show or something like that. She's aging out and it's her birthday. And you hear everybody telling her, hey, happy birthday. And I can get into that second, how that's just like a whole other thing. And I guess supposedly women don't really like their birthdays the older they get. I don't really know. I'm not a woman, but I am somebody who doesn't necessarily like their birthdays, but a completely different reason. And despite all of her accomplishments, like her name's plastered on billboards, posters, all the way down the hallway, everything, her name is everywhere. They know who she is and what she's been for so long. But now it's about that time. And so they want to replace her with somebody younger, somebody hotter, somebody sexier. That's what they want. They want more eye candy. They want somebody that can prolong the next, step of the show or anything. They just want ratings. They just want money. They want eyes. That's all they want. And they get that, but in a very fucked up way. And so she's kind of down on her luck, knowing all of this is kind of coming to an end and that they do want to replace her. And they're kind of beating around the bush, but also being very obvious. Like, yeah, it's time for you to move on. Your time in Hollywood it's been good. It's been great, but now we need something better. And that's what they want to do. After an accident that she has that makes her go to the hospital, she comes across this other nurse or doctor, and very beautiful dude, might I add. This dude is angelic looking. Like I don't know who the fuck he is, but I already knew that guy was somebody. Just he popped up on the screen. I already knew, like, yo, you're not just an extra. You are fucking beautiful. Just saying. He notices that she could be a perfect candidate for what he's doing. And he is also somebody that is using the substance. So he gives her the information, slips it into her pocket, and she watches the videos, and it goes into detail what it is. The whole point is to make a better you. And when it does that, it does this in this completely messed up way. And honestly, I don't think it's far-fetched to say this is something people would do. I really think so. Is this something I would personally do? Fuck no. I don't think I could trust myself or like the other person. She is able to make this better version of herself, but it stems from her coming out of her. It literally falls out the back of her body, completely splitting her back open. And she's kind of just unconscious or in this weird state for like a week. And that's the thing. It is a week that you guys operate as one another. So Sue gets to operate for a week, and then they switch places. And now Elizabeth gets to operate for a week. So it's this whole back and forth thing. There is a balance, and you have to respect it. And the people who are doing this, who they talk to, it's all faceless, by the way. It's over the phone. It's all faceless. They tell her, respect the balance. There's no her, you. There is only one. And you are it. You are the Matrix. And whenever she does this, the lives are starting to go so differently. And it's such a captivating movie and concept and themes. All of it just beautifully wrapped and shot and just conveyed in this movie of the existentialism of aging and being replaced. It is fucking wow, dude. I mean, I'm going through life for the first time. I'm almost 30, and it's like, I kind of get it, but do I feel this? No. I feel it more so with myself, not being replaced by anybody, but that is one of those things. But I just know this is something women definitely go through all the time. And it's not even just like celebrities. This is just in general. This could happen to anybody, even in their relationship that they've been in forever. But all of a sudden, the husband or the dad, whatever, the man of the family could also decide, you know what? I'm tired of this. I want somebody younger. I want somebody hotter. And they date somebody that's probably 10 times, not 10 times, Jesus Christ, but about 10 years younger. Or, I mean, you see it all the time where you got these big rich guys that are definitely like in their fucking 50s or so, and they're dating somebody who's probably freshly 18 or something like that. It happens. And women kind of have to feel that in a way, and they're at this competition that they don't even know with the younger crowd, because these women are attractive and just full of life. And some people just don't see the value in older women, more experienced women. So they're just like, all right, you know, whatever. I'm just going to go for that because it's pretty to look at. Not always the case. It's, I don't fucking know. But it's just one of these things. And they tackle so much in this movie. So I highly recommend watching this one. I absolutely love it. Watched it for the second time last night, and I could easily watch it again. It is that good, and it looks that good. Now, I'm gonna have a hard time trying to say this, but I want to say it right because she deserves some respect. This movie is written and directed by Qualley. I hope I'm saying that right. She's a French director, and wow, her fourth film, and she does this. That is fucking incredible. That is so good. It's already super hard for women to break out in the industry, but she got this. This is definitely one of the best horror movies of the year, 100%. And I'm saying that even before Nosferatu comes out. There's a good chance, but I think this one really takes the cake. I could be wrong, but it's definitely a very, very good horror movie in recent years. And supposedly there is another really good movie that she made before this. I can't remember if this is her third film or not, but it's called Revenge. Now, is it a movie I would watch? Probably not, because it is a rape revenge film. I personally don't like watching movies that kind of lean heavy into it. By all means, talking about the subject matter is important because people do need to know this is a thing that happens and it's super unfortunate and should be punishable to the fullest extent of the law. That is without a doubt how it should be, hands down. And sometimes I have a hard time with people depicting that subject in film because you never really know anybody's intentions, and it just makes me a bit uncomfortable. One, some people shoot it in such a overly detailed and gruesome way, and I get it. They want to hammer home like, look, this is fucked up. This shit happens, you know, and I get that. I get that 100% as somebody who knows too many women that have been through this. I get it, but I just don't enjoy seeing it. I really don't. And there's plenty of media out there that have conveyed what it's like or what's happened without showing a whole lot of it, if you know what I mean. So it can be done, but it's just, I have a hard time sometimes. I can trust a woman doing it. I will say that. And I don't know if that's like sexist or anything, but I would trust a woman depicting it more because I don't know. I feel like it's just easier, but I feel like if a guy depicts it in film, I get like a little eerie. It's like, did you fucking enjoy this a bit too much? Like, is this a fetish or anything? And the thing is, you'll never know the intentions. And I know that's just trying to peel away too many layers and, you know, trying to get to the center of the Tootsie Pop and shit. But that's just how I feel about it personally. That's just me. If I wrote and direct the film, I don't think it's something I would cover. Would it be something I talk about? Honestly, yeah, probably. So I take that back. I probably would. But I don't think I could depict it in such a visceral manner where it just comes off like torture porn or smut or anything like that. Like that wouldn't be for me. It's not my style. But speaking of the way things look in people shooting stuff, this movie is so pretty to look at. I don't even know what to say pretty. It's uncomfortable. It's enticing. There's just so much. There's so many feelings. And this is why cinematography is very important. It's all about the eye, man, because we're going to be seeing this. So somebody has to have a really good eye as to what people are going to love seeing or be uncomfortable seeing that they have to see anyway. And Benjamin Krokan. I hope I'm saying that right. I really have no idea, but he killed it as the cinematographer for this film. Every shot just looks so good. Everything is so calculated. Nothing is done without purpose. It really shows he gave a shit about this project, and I love that, or at least his craft. And you fucking did it, man. This film is so good to look at, and they recreated so many shots and paid a bunch of respect and homage to classic horrors such as The Shining. You got stuff like Psycho, and The Shining was a huge fucking inspiration for how this movie looks, because dude, they recreate a lot of really good stuff, and I absolutely love The Shining. It is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. That is actually going to be the next film I talk about, and after that it will be Doctor Sleep, the sequel to that one. I thought about doing them both in one episode. I possibly could. I'm not sure. I honestly don't know. The Shining is one of the most talked about horror movies ever, and rightfully so. And I think this movie can definitely reach that status. And I'm not bullshitting when I say that. I think it could be on par with The Shining. I genuinely think so. And some people could say, oh, but that's only because it's, you know, kind of referencing a lot of stuff, or it's shot closely to some of that in some aspects. It's like, yeah, the inspiration's there and it fucking works. It actually did it. It is very capable of being on par with The Shining, and I stand behind that. I don't give a fuck who's upset about it. I stand behind it. And I know I'm just stroking the hell out of this movie, but it deserves it, okay? Women in this industry don't get a whole lot of like love and respect as much as they should. Is it starting to happen more over the last couple of years? Yes. But that doesn't mean we don't point out when, holy shit, something is fantastic. It's woman-led. It is directed and written by a woman. It is a story about women and the struggles that women go through, but also not just women, that men go through as well. They included us a little bit to see, oh yeah, men go through this shit too. And I love that, because it didn't need to happen, but she did it anyway. So that's awesome. You know, that's, to me, that's somebody who is all about the bigger picture. So, hey, yeah, I'm telling my story, but let's not forget about like this demographic as well, that they go through this shit too. Just not a lot of people talk about it. And rightfully so. We've done that to ourselves. That's men. We have unfortunately done that. We have to unlearn how to do all that, and the pressure that we put on ourselves as roles in society. Jesus, I haven't even gotten into like parts of the movie I absolutely love, or the parts that I really want to talk about. I got talking points I'm just staring at that I definitely need to get to. So we're going to get into the spoilery parts of this. So if you haven't seen it, please go watch it, come back, listen to me talk about it. You will not regret it. So as I was saying, with the whole synopsis of what happens, she starts to notice that she's aging out, and obviously they want to replace her. And the reason she knows this is because the women's restroom in the building she was working at, it was out of order. So she goes into the men's restroom, uses a stall, and in walks Harvey in a very uncomfortable close-up shot of just him all up in the fucking camera. He's talking about how they want somebody hotter, and that they're kind of just tired of her, and that she's been around for this long, and was calling her pretty much just ancient, just getting completely talking about how old this chick is, when this dude is most likely older than her and been in the industry longer. But being an older gentleman in the industry, you get looked at with such praise and respect. Like, you've earned your stripes, you've been around. And I get that. And I don't know if that's just because conditionally or what, or that's just like common sense. Oh, if somebody's been in this industry for a while and is still going strong, it's like, wow, you know what you're doing. Like, you're actually good at your job. Like, you've done some stuff. Like, you've had your hands in all these pies and shit. You've kept it going. Like, good for you. That's something that would be inspiring to some people. Completely get that. And he's making fun of the fact that she's getting older and talks about how oh yeah, she's like almost 50, and it stops around there. And they never say what it is, but I'm positive, and it could just be me. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what he means by that. I honestly don't know. If I thought about it even longer, I might come up with something, but I don't know. But I am positive every woman fully understood what he meant in that moment whenever he started telling her, yeah, you're about 50, like you're turning 50 now. So it stops about there. What is it? And by all means, I want to know what you guys think. Please let me know, what do you think it is that stops about 50? It could be honestly anything off the top of my head. But he also talks about how this guy is dating somebody who's almost 25, and he's like, oh yeah, like a woman's egg starts to dry, but she won't be able to like have kids. Like her shit almost becomes useless at the age of 25. So he's like, yeah, you better get to it. This guy is old. I don't imagine him having young friends. So he probably has somebody old as fuck on the phone talking about, oh yeah, you need to hurry up and have a kid with this like really young woman. Fucking weird. And there's a great example of that, of just old men having kids. And this is just like a random fact. Al Pacino's nutsack is probably hanging down to his like fucking ankle when he stands. And he just had a kid not that long ago. His kid was born last year in 2023. And his girlfriend, I don't even think his wife or anything, is just slightly older than I am. I think she's like early 30s. I think she's like 31, 32. That is fucking insane, right? Like that's wild that we see that demographic all the time. And funny enough, in this as well is Demi Moore, who did date Ashton Kutcher in the early 2000s as well. And there was a big age gap between them. So it's like, it's kind of weird. So women do this as well. Yes, but men in Hollywood are notorious for this. And everybody knows people like Leonardo DiCaprio. I think he's like the spearhead of just dating young women who by the time they're 25, he just fucking kicks them to the curb. Which honestly, I know it's a crazy theory, but it doesn't seem that far-fetched with his dating history. So it happens. But she overhears that and she gets very distraught. And it's her birthday, so she constantly has people telling her it's her birthday. So she's getting reminded that she's getting older by every other person, and it's just getting too much for her to handle. And after hearing that, it's like, wow, I'm getting older, I'm being replaced. And there's nothing she can do about it. That's just how the industry goes. And we're consumers. We're part of the problem because we want to see newer and younger talent. Sometimes not even younger. I honestly don't really care. They just happen to be younger because they're just newer on the scene, which makes sense. But no, there are some people who just come in to the industry late and do fucking awesome. But not everybody knows. Some people just like, oh yeah, you've been around for a while. Nobody really thinks, oh shit, you didn't get your start until like your fucking mid 30s, 40s, or maybe even more. It's insane. And sometimes people look at that in a weird way, and that's our own fault as well, because we don't think about ourselves in the sense of, oh, imagine we decided to go into an industry and try out something like, I've always wanted to do this. Always wanted to make music. And then people are going to say, aren't you like 40? Why are you trying to break into the scene? Like, it's kind of a young man's game. You shouldn't do that. Just do something. You're never too old to try something. Just fucking do it. And that could have been your calling. Maybe you could have done it sooner, maybe not, but you did it at the time that you did. Good things might have happened. And it's like, hey, this is how it was meant to be. It's just whatever. But I digress. And so she's driving in her car and she just knows she's about to get replaced because they even see it in the newspaper that they want somebody else. They really do. And they want somebody 25 to 30 and she's 50. So while she's driving, an amazing stunt shot, holy shit, is one of the sideways like views of a car crash. And man, that's a fucking extreme car crash that just happens. It is wild. There are some cutaways and stuff, but that stunt in and of itself, whoever was in that car, holy shit, dude. That was wild. That was gnarly. And amazing stunt and camera work right there. But that's the incident that lands her in the hospital, and they check her out. They're like, oh yeah, no, just some scrapes and bruises, but you're fine. Everything's a-okay. But the nurse that is in there, he gets the idea of what she's going through. Like he can tell, and he probably just knows because obviously he's been through the same thing. It's a really young and beautiful dude, and he tells her, you know, you could be a perfect candidate. Like, this thing turned my life around. So he starts inspecting her back and stuff, and then he slips her the information. She goes on about her day. She watches it and was like, all right, what the fuck? Like, this is weird. It's a very subliminal, over the top advertisement. And so she doesn't fall for it. But after just thinking about it more of what's going to happen, that she's going to be replaced, she decides to do it. You know, she calls the number. They give her like a P.O. box or whatever. They give her an address to go to, picks up the stuff, goes home, and you see she has an activator, and then she has like food supplies for each other. So how the process works is whenever she puts that activator in, the green stuff, it is a one-time use. She does that, and then she has like these convulsions, falls to the floor, and then out her back is just splitting open. Amazing body horror in this movie. Definitely one of the best body horror movies ever. But this being just comes out, and she just kind of gives birth to this other person. And what this person has to do, this person's younger, completely different looking. Like, they have different color eyes, types of hair. It's so different. And what this person has to do, now that she's kind of in control, it's weird. It's like their minds kind of work together. They kind of have the same memories, but also kind of not. It's a bit iffy, because it's like they're still one person, but definitely two different ways of thinking and remembering. And so with Sue, the younger and more vibrant and lively woman, what she has to do is actually take this spinal fluid from Elizabeth to stabilize herself every day for that week. And she has to also feed Elizabeth through this like IV bag that's supposed to keep her alive. And it's so weird, but it's kind of just putting her in this weird catatonic state where like just nothing's there, just empty. Like the mind is gone. It's off in this head now. And during this time, she gets to do whatever she wants. She gets to experience life as this younger woman. And she decides to go for the job and replace herself, which is fucking wild, to be the one that is like your end to your real self. Insane. And they do this for a while. So fast forward a bit. They start living their lives. At first, the balance is respected. Everything's a-okay. But over time, you know, Sue is starting to build up a life. And it's like, oh man, like a week is not good enough. Like, she secures the job. Everyone loves her. They know she's going to be a hit. And she is sexualized in almost every scene that she's in. You see a whole lot of her ass. There's a lot of ass in this movie to begin with. A lot of ass. But you see so much of her in a very, not even a very sexual way, or at least not for me. But it is meant to be like, look at this. Like, look how attractive she is. But I don't know how to describe it, but it's like, yes, look at how fit and like young and attractive she is. And this is what everybody wants. This is what people want to look like. That's kind of what it comes off. She comes off like an advertisement in every scene. It's just constantly sexualizing her, but not being like so like it's not gratuitous. And it definitely doesn't feel that way, because that's the point, is that's what she is. She's the embodiment of that. She's just nothing but a temptress in everything. And Demi Moore's character isn't sexualized like that at all, ever. Even seeing her naked, you're not getting all this like glints and glamour whenever we see her nude. Only when we see Sue is when you get these amazing close-ups. The cinematography is like, it's just turned up quite a bit. And It's such a weird thing. It's like a glitch in the matrix. It's reality. It is art imitating reality and reality imitating art in the very same time, because Demi Moore has been somebody who has been subject to, you know, just being replaced by a younger crowd and not looking how she used to. Every woman in Hollywood has done that. So it's weird. This is exactly what this movie's about. And in this movie, in and of itself, that's the character she has to play, because that's what she fits. She doesn't fit the young and beautiful one. Somebody else does. Somebody new on the scene. Young, beautiful. It's insane. And I kind of wonder, did she have any of those feelings as well? Like, damn, even though this is just a story, this is kind of my story. Like, this is what's happening to me right now. Like, I'm not even the main character. I'm now sharing the spotlight with somebody else in this film because they are the younger, more attractive person, and their shots look so different of them and how their characters are portrayed. It's wild. It is fucking layers, man. So many layers to that. My fat ass started to get hungry, so I had to like snack on something because I really want to get this shit done, and I just got off of work, so I need a snack every now and then. Leave me the fuck alone. But like I was saying, so Sue actually starts to earn a life. She starts to make a name for herself, and she wants to take up more time. And then she has the idea, oh, I can, if I just take a little more fluid, I can be out for like another day or another couple of hours. Just from her taking a few more hours, Elizabeth's finger actually started to rot and age. Like just her finger right here. That's fucking gross looking. And by the end of this movie, she turns into like a hag because Sue starts to take more and more time. And it's like, you can't really blame her, because out of the two characters, Sue is the only one doing something with her life, while Elizabeth literally does nothing but in her free time is eat and watch TV. There was literally an imprint after a week where there's just this imprint of where she was sitting in the chair watching TV. The TV was still on. So yeah, there's like not a whole lot there going on. So it's kind of like you can't blame her for wanting to actually do something with her life, because she can only live her life by using Elizabeth. But at that same time, it's damaging Elizabeth, and she doesn't really seem to care. I feel like she has to definitely see what's happening to her. Like, she even goes to the point of completely renovating this empty space in the house, and it's like this wall, like wall door, just hidden secret door to stuff her in whenever she is actually around. She even replaces this huge picture of her in the living room and just completely gets rid of it. So it starts to become more of a problem, and more of her starts to age when she, obviously starts to take up a lot more of the time. And she eventually goes back because she's thinking about canceling it, and she's getting lost in the sauce a bit, saying her. She is referring to Sue as her and she. She's talking about her in these ways as if she is like her own person. And in a way, kind of, yeah, but also not exactly, because it's like, I want to say how you were, when you were younger, you were out there, you were ready, you were hungry, and it's like, you weren't going to let anything stand in your way. And unfortunately, the only thing standing in the way of your success is now you, which is a layer in and of itself. We can get things done if we just stop getting in our own way. And that's what's happening here. And there's so many layers between the relationship of Sue and Elizabeth. One way that I saw it as well was apparent, pretty much generational jealousy. And we see this all the time, and not even in just women. This is definitely something a lot of people do, is whenever they force like these goals and interests on their kids in hopes that they do something better. And I get it. And I understand. Like, I think about all the time I've wasted in things I could have been good at if I just fucking stuck to it, or if I just realized how important it actually is. All that time that I've wasted that didn't amount to anything. It's like, man, if I was younger, oh, I could have done this. I understand that mindset where, damn, if like if I ever had a kid or anything, it's like, yo, you're gonna fucking you're gonna get on time. You're gonna do the things I couldn't because I'm gonna make sure you actually get to it. You know, I'm gonna help you get there. But that just because we share the same DNA, we're not the same person. We don't like the same things. We might not even like each other, you know? So I completely understand that in the sense that she's forcing like her goals and her dreams on her and she takes to them, yeah, but it's all jealousy. Once she actually starts to do very good at it and just full on replaces her, nobody's even talking about Elizabeth anymore. Everything is about Sue. Now you're like, damn, I'm nothing. Like they have everything, you know? And dads do this all the time with sports and just forcing their kids to like what they like and, you know, create like a legacy and some shit like that. That's what they do. You know, it's pretty fucked up. It's weird. And another layer to that, and this is something completely different, not exactly the same, but something that is very common to happen with like single moms, where they turn their child to be like the best man like that they could possibly be, but it's how they view a best man. They try to create and mold the man they wish they had in a relationship, and that creates a whole bunch of shit that is just not okay. And that's something that's another example of just molding something and forcing your like your insecurities, but also your goals, your dreams. You're putting everything into a piggy bank, and you're like, you're gonna pay off. You're gonna take us there. That is too fucking much. That's a whole lot of pressure. So I see that as this, obviously with a mom and daughter aspect, where it's like, hey, I aged out, I can't do this anymore, but you can. You're gonna do this for us. Like that's what this is, and it's no longer, oh, it's them. No, you're using them to still get your name on it somewhere, to feel a sense of accomplishment through that. It's fucked up, man. That's not how it's supposed to be. Obviously, you would want like your offspring or your siblings or anything like that to be successful and do what they want to do and be happy. But sometimes when it's a bit too close to home and there's a bit too many similarities, I could see that jealousy. Just like how there's jealous parents that don't even like when their kids have friends or go out or do something. There's TikToks all over of people playing these characters of how like there's like these jealous moms that don't like their friends and like their kids' friends and shit like that. There's just so much there. And this is a really good representation of that as well. We can look at this and say, oh yeah, that wouldn't be me, but yo, nobody prepares you for getting older. Somebody can prepare you for life. Oh, hey, these are things you gotta take care of. Oh, you gotta eat your vegetables, you gotta brush your teeth, you gotta exercise. People can prepare you for those things, but nobody, absolutely fucking nobody, I firmly believe this, can prepare you up here in your head of what it's like to get older. Like I feel like only within the last year I'm starting to realize how much older I am getting. It's like, oh shit. Sometimes I forget I am almost 30, but there could be days, and I mean this seriously, where I could just be sitting here or even laying down, and then I get up and I'm like, fuck, like something hurts when I walk. Like I feel it like in my bone. Like maybe I sat the wrong way, I twisted something. I feel that. And I'm like, damn, I remember a time where that wasn't a thing. I remember when I could sit on the ground, no problem, crisscross applesauce and everything, and just get up like nothing happened. I'm all good. But now when I get up, it's like a little slower. It's like, shit, fuck, okay, like gotta stretch a bit, or that feels a little tense, or that kind of hurts, like my ass hurts, or like my knees hurt. And then I take a minute to get right, you know? I feel like a machine that's like taking a second to warm up, and then I can start walking right. Like, yeah, no, I'm all good. I'm noticing that nobody can prepare me for that. That I'm going to wake up and things are just not the same. That my face isn't going to be the same anymore. That, and I'm going to give you guys a little peek behind the curtain, okay? I have a widow's peak. I've always had a deep widow's peak, but now I don't even know if I actually do have a receding hairline, and I'm open to talk about that because I honestly don't care, but it's something I'm like, damn, is it? Like I don't know. And then social media definitely makes your looks being worse because now I just see nothing but shit, even without me having to research or even openly talk about it, which is fucking weird. But devices are always listening to you. Everything is a product. Like, that's it. You're just only a consumer and that's it. But I see stuff all the time, like, oh, like stuff that could fix your receding hairline and baldness and stuff. I'm just going to myself, just talking like, damn, am I? Like, fuck, like that sucks. I don't want to go bald. I've always known me with hair. I don't want to do that. Or I used to have really thick hair and now it's like, oh, not as thick as it used to be. It's weird. It's honestly fucking weird and nothing really prepares you for it. So nothing prepares you at all and no one does either. And I don't think we can. We could try it to the best of our abilities, but you can't tell somebody like, yeah, one day you're going to wake up and your body's not going to feel the same anymore. You can tell me that, but I'm not going to know what that means. I'm going to hear it and be like, cool. Like I used to hear that shit all the time. Now it's like, damn, I kind of get it now. And it kind of sucks. And then when I play with like my nieces and nephews, it's like, shit, damn, I can't really like go all out like I used to be. Same with going to concerts. I used to go fucking hard at concerts. Now it's like I'm kind of into just standing off to the side where, oh, tomorrow I don't have to try to fucking heal or anything. And it's just like, fuck, that's not anything I ever used to think about. I used to just think, oh, I got punched in the, or kicked in the fucking face in a mosh pit. All right, cool, whatever. Like, I'll be all right tomorrow. Like, oh, bruise, whatever. You don't heal like you used to. My healing factor is not what it used to be, all right? I'm not grade A anymore. I'm now like a C or a D. I don't know. And that's just me being real with you guys. Like, I'm getting older. I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what's going to happen, and it's just inevitable. And as anybody along my age, like who could be younger or older, I'm pretty sure it's like, damn, yeah, sometimes you probably think about this. I think about this like every day. So I'm starting to think this is just normal, or maybe I do have a bit of an existential crisis. And I also feel that's what lead people who don't really know how to handle it, who kind of have that like break. They are just not prepared to get older. They have midlife crisis. You see these people act out in these weird ways or completely try to dive into the youth and stay there. Like it's odd. I don't know. Like it's fucking weird. That's just like a peek into my head, but I'm pretty sure out there somebody else relates. And it's not even with just me, like my girlfriend realizing, the older she's getting, her body changes and shit like that. And we've talked about, I told her about like how I think like, yeah, I actually think my hairline might be receding. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know what to fucking do. Like do I actually do something about it? But do I feel insecure enough to actually want to do something? Or do I just want to keep it? Like, I don't know how to look at it. And I told her, and then we just got to this point, like, damn, we're actually growing old together, which is weird because we've been friends since our like early teen years and like preteen years. And now we're at this point. It's like, oh shit, we're getting old. We're finding out stuff about our bodies. They're just not the same. Family, diseases that, they're hereditary that are, happening or about to happen or coming eventually. It's like, oh shit, we are getting old. Like that's crazy to me. And honestly, I'm happy to be growing old with her. But it's also like, shit, like you're not the same person I met back then, and that's not a bad thing, but it's like, wow, that's insane. Like it's all about perspective. I'm pretty sure talking about this, somebody's gonna hear it and think, oh shit, like yeah, you might look over to your kids or your significant other and be like, you know what, holy shit, I've known you for so long. Like that's so weird. Nobody prepares you for it, man. It's insane. And I'm sorry I'm going off in this tangent, but no, it's like it's real. Like, I don't know how to describe it other than it's just real. And I think this movie is the most perfect insecure movie I've ever seen. It handles insecurity in such a way, in typical horror fashion. That's the whole point of the genre of horror, is to talk about the taboo things, to put those things out there and talk about them. That's just what we do, but we just put something else over it, and you're just supposed to get it by subtext. And a lot of people do. And it's like, oh shit, yeah, that's pretty fucked. Like, there's so many movies that have an underlying theme where, like, yeah, that's what this is about. You know, this is a real problem. But if I just came out and told you about it, you're not really going to care. But if I put it in this certain media, now you're paying attention. And if it's something you're interested in, now you're going to dig deep, and then you're going to see, oh, there's way more underneath. All right, it's like lasagna. All these different layers. Okay, you got the cheese, you got the sauce, you got the meat, you got the noodles. It's all there. It just depends on how far you want to go and get to the bottom of the pan. That's what we're doing here. That's how I feel about movies. I feel like that's why I love movies, because I'm not super intertwined with my emotions, but movies help me feel and understand. And I feel like that's what it is for me. And I feel like another aspect to the layer of their relationship, Sue and Elizabeth, is more the sense of like faking, like being fake, not being the real you. And a character, or actually the nurse, the older version, the real version of the nurse, you see later in the film after she's having a bit of this breakdown because of being rotted away by Sue taking up more time. And he simply asks her, because he recognizes her, he asks her, has she started eating away at you yet? And obviously she knows what he's talking about, because her hands are really getting messed up from this, because it starts at the limbs and starts to go further. And whenever he starts to talk about that, it just makes me think of how we give away, well, not we, I mean, have I done this when I was younger? Probably, where people kind of just fake being themselves to fit in or to do or be a part of something, which I know is like all the same thing. But yeah, you do that, and you have a bit of imposter syndrome because you've been doing it so long, you don't even know who you are anymore. You don't know what you like, or, you know, how you think anymore, because like, damn, did I condition myself to see this a certain way, but I actually think about it this way? And then now you're questioning everything more than actually just naturally flowing with something. It's just super insane that there's just so many layers to this relationship by itself. And the way she argues with herself as well, Elizabeth, I'm talking about the older one. So once she starts to turn more into like a hag type, like she's having gray hairs, her body is getting more wrinkled. It's like her teeth are yellowing, her eyes, like they just got baggier and puffier. She's looking like a witch or a hag, which, yeah, that's what happens. And it goes full hag at the end of the movie with the Monstro, which is another character. But or I don't really know another character, but another form. Yeah, I'll say that. Whenever she's talking to herself, because she hears the interview that Sue did, and she's talking about her beauty regimens, and Elizabeth can only think and literally flash like her body. You don't see it, but she's flashing like her body to the TV, saying like, oh yeah, tell them where you get all your beauty from, sucking out my spinal fluid and just taking up so much time and looking good. Because whenever she does start to run out or go too long past the time, she has to go get more fluid to stabilize herself. That's what it is. But in doing so, obviously that is having an effect on Elizabeth's body, where she's getting this very gross, like pus infected wound on her back from constantly just being, you know, extracted from, never healing, because the body is just not active. And whenever she does run out of food as well, because they do always give you a refill box of the food and all that, so that way every week you guys can be swapping. There's a certain type of food or substance that they have to ingest to kind of keep that thing alive. or that person being, whatever you want to call it, to keep them alive. What Sue started to do was using her food that she's supposed to have whenever she's not in control on her. So she's keeping her in this like coma like state while she goes off and lives a life for months. And it's that she starts to have fits. Elizabeth starts to have fits whenever she does come back because she's getting older. She starts wrecking the house. She's eating a lot more food. She's pigging out, doing all these things. And she's tried to have a life. She's tried to find some sense of self-worth because she did run into an old friend from high school and was like, oh, you haven't changed a bit. Like, you know, you look so good. Like, you probably don't remember me since you're like celebrity and all. But yeah, you know, we used to have like homeroom together. And at first she was very shocked, but it was somebody who really wanted to get to know her and still found her beautiful and interesting. And so she took his number, and he's not a very conventionally attractive man, and that's okay. But he really wanted to actually get to know her stuff. I don't think he wanted to use her or anything. I do think it could be some sense of like, oh yeah, he's a big fan, so it could be like crossing a line in a way. But he was very genuine about wanting to be with her and like go out, have drinks. And he was even shocked when she did actually call him and say she wants to go out and do something. He was taken aback like multiple times, like, oh, like I'm surprised. And when the night finally came, and this is one of the saddest scenes to me, honestly, I think this is one of the realest moments. She gets all dolled up. She looks nice. She looks really nice. She has her makeup done. She has a nice dress and she's ready to go out. But she's always seeing something of Sue, these billboards, her on the TV, magazine, whatever. She sees Sue and it's like, she thinks to herself, I don't look like that. I got to put on more makeup or something. And she goes back each time doing a little more and get more and more aggressive and aggravated. And it is so sad to see that this is what some women go through because they're trying to be pretty enough to kind of, for some, pretty much to kind of attract the attention and then also be worth it as well. So she's trying very hard and just has a breakdown and just completely messes up her hair, messes up all her makeup, and doesn't even go out and just ignores the guy. And he seems like he would have been a really nice dude that actually just wanted to sit down with her. And that sucks because somebody was genuinely interested in her. But she couldn't get past herself and her own insecurities. And it was just a very real and raw moment. Like, fuck, like that sucks that this is something women are going through. And as a guy, I've never experienced, and I wouldn't have thought twice about it until this movie. And it's like, shit. Yeah, like, and you got to think about this as a man listening to this. If anybody's listening to this, this is something your girlfriend or your best friend or another friend you have, your mom, you know, your sister, aunt, whatever. The women in your life have probably gone through this, and you got to think to yourself, fuck, that sucks. As a society, we're so focused on how attractive we find a woman that's their worth right there. And we don't think about the ones that do really try and still don't feel good enough, even when they've already passed the bar by, you know, most people's standards. But it doesn't matter, you know, because they have their own standard. And the beauty standard is a whole other fucking thing that is just really fucked up in the world. And that it's a lot. It's going to take a lot to reverse all the damage that's been done. And I'm glad it's a big conversation now. I'm glad there's a lot more support for both men and women that go through this. And it's just, we just got to learn how to maintain it, man. We're just not prepared for a lot of these like mental tolls, you know? Life is just a body horror movie in and of itself because shit happens all the time. Our bodies are not meant to be around forever. We are finite, okay? That's just plain and simple. We're all going to break down, turn to dust, rot. That's it. That's inevitable. And this movie does body horror in incredible ways because it shows you how beautiful the female form can be, and everybody can agree, even if you're not sexually attracted to women or anything like that, women are beautiful. They're one of the most amazing creatures in the world, and it's astonishing what years of evolution can lead to, and that's what we have. And now you see it really shown off in a lot of scenes with Sue, but then you also see some really fucked up parts of how gross it could be. And it's sad. It's also because it's somebody getting old. Demi Moore's character kind of being rotted. There's kind of a realness to it once she starts to age a little bit, like the hand or the feet. Yeah, it's minor, not a whole lot, but it is something that really happens. Of course, the later changes are what's very extreme that happened, or yeah. But it's supposed to convey that, like, oh shit, yeah, you don't look like how you used to when you were younger. That's what it's conveying. And not even just the extreme examples. Like, we literally see teeth falling out. We see like boobs sagging ridiculously. We see ass sagging ridiculously as well. You see those, and then there's this one really gross belly button scene that bugs the fuck out of me because I hate belly button stuff. I fucking hate belly button stuff. I hate when people touch my belly button. It's a whole thing with me. But literally, Sue like takes out like a chicken wing or whatever from her belly button, and it's like gaping and then closes back. I think it was a dream or something she had. I don't know. I just know it was fucking disgusting. I absolutely hated it. And then my girlfriend hated the teeth falling out because it's like front teeth and stuff falling out. And not even just that, fingernails. I hate fingernails. I've said this multiple times on this podcast. I hate fingernail stuff. It makes me cringe. But we see all that. Those are extreme examples. But the subtle examples of getting like older, like body horror, I guess you would say, would be at one point she's sitting in a chair and she's, you know, pretty old now at this point. Her body's like aged, and she wants to get up and do something. Elizabeth, obviously, she wants to get up and do something, but her leg is like locked. She can't. She's sitting there for a second, just looking at her leg, like how to get ready to get up. And maybe it's out of place or something. She has a hard time. And when she tries to get up, it hurts. So she sits back down, but then eventually pops something back in place. And then she's able to get up and slowly walk. That is a subtle body horror thing, because one day that is going to happen to all of us where we can't get up like we used to. And the same thing about that is falls. Falls are a big thing. A 6-year-old can probably fall over right now. Nothing major. They'll fucking bounce back. Like, all right, yeah, you got some scrapes and bruises, whatever. Not a big deal. But me, right now, almost 30, if I took a fall, it's honestly really gonna fucking hurt. And I know I'm the tallest 5'6" guy in the world, and that's quite a distance to fucking fall, you know. That's gonna fucking hurt. You know, to you guys, to some of y'all, it's like, oh, it's a short fall. Blah, 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 whatever. I'm over 6 feet. Whatever the fuck matters. It doesn't fucking matter. That's a fall. It's gonna fucking hurt. But then somebody like my parents, like my mom, fell at work, completely wrecked her shit, and she was in the hospital for like a while. You know, her wrists, her hip. It's scary. The older you get, just simply tripping and falling over something, it can really fuck you up. And that's going to be all of us one day. That's body horror right there. My uncle is somebody who had testicular cancer, and he dealt with that, and that was a fucking nightmare. That is already a horror show, but developing cancer, body horror, dude, there's so much. Life is nothing but body horror, but also like beauty as well, but body horror nonetheless. And that goes hand in hand with being able to heal. Back then, you could heal from scrapes and bruises super easily. Now, things take longer. I realized just minor like cuts on my hands and stuff. It's like, damn, they take quite a while to go away. Like, it's a little weird. It's like, yeah, man, your healing factor doesn't work like it used to. That's scary too, to think one day you're not going to heal from everything in just a couple days. It's going to sometimes take a week or two, or maybe even more, depending. It's like, nobody prepares you for that. Just one day, notice or you don't notice that, oh, it's taking longer than what it used to. And Hollywood does this weird thing where older women, and this is just not even just women, but where older people play younger people. This has been happening since forever. And we all know about those 80s movies where like, oh yeah, these guys are supposed to be like in high school and shit like that. And clearly these fuckers are like 35. Like, yeah, it's really fucking obvious that people are older than me. It's like, yeah, you're supposed to play a teenager. Like, you know, you're supposed to be like 16. Obviously, one of the best examples, and I guess worst examples, whichever way you want to lean towards, Grease. They're all supposed to be like, what, like 15, 16? And a lot of them are very much not fucking that. Like, it's gross looking. Like, if one of those guys try to pretend to be that age nowadays, like how they looked then in high school, it'd be blatantly obvious and I would have to call the cops. Like, yeah, something's obviously not right there. But the whole chasing Hollywood is definitely where it relies on your looks and shit like that. Now, I see this as I kind of see this as a sequel to A24's X. That was by Ty West, and it stars Mia Goth. Her whole thing was being, you know, young, sexy, and wanting to be a star. She had that drive, and ambition. She wanted to be a star. I feel like this is like a weird sequel as to where, okay, you got it. You did what you want to do. You've been a star. But now there is somebody out there younger than you and is hungry as well, as hungry as you used to be or even more. And now they're going to take your spot. I think this is a good kind of follow up to that. You could do a double feature of this and think, damn, because in X, you have Pearl, who was getting old, who wanted to do things but never got to do them. And then you got Maxine, who wants to do things and has the potential and the drive and opportunity to do it. She goes off and does it, obviously, through Maxine. She goes off and does what she wants to do. And then the substance is what happens when you've got it, you've had it, but now you're losing it. I think that's fucking cool. I'm just saying. I think that's really cool. Getting old, man, is just fucking weird. And these movies tackle it in such a way. And this movie tackles what it's like to be a woman with these insecurities and beauty standards and just all these things. Obviously, something by a woman to talk about women's issues is going to work because they fucking know. It's not a guy trying to guess it. I never would have put any of this together to have a body horror movie that specifically focuses on what it's like to be aging, but then also the like inner insecurities of other women being your competition and your replacements. Like, that's so painfully fucking obvious that happens. But nobody thought to do it until now, and it took a woman to do it. Yes. This is why we need different people telling different stories, because holy shit, I never would have known. But it is so obvious I never would have done it. That's why everybody should just go out and do the shit that you want to do, because your side of the story, it could be something great and that somebody wants and needs to hear or see, whatever. That you got to do it. And while watching this for the second time last night, I thought of the South Park episode, Britney's New Look. Now, I feel like it's not exactly that, but I got that same thing of celebrity exploitation and talking about her looks and stuff, because we all know the shit Britney's been through. And you got to think, back in the day, people used to call her fat. When how she looked back then in the early 2000s now would still be considered really skinny and petite. That is insane that that's what it's like. And she's gone through so much. And then now everybody's flipped the script because we found out more, because now everybody's actually taking mental health and other forms of abuse serious. Like, oh yeah, she did go through a lot of shit, and, you know, free Britney and all this other stuff. So yeah, she's been through a lot. And I think that episode symbolizes that, because it was and leave it to South Park. South Park is ahead of the curve. One of the greatest animated shows ever, because they used to tackle all these great topics in such interesting ways and super like relevant times. Okay, that's a whole different thing. I'll talk about in a second. But yeah, you see that she gets shit on by and dehumanized because she was getting older and not what they wanted anymore. So she just gets turned into pretty much nothing. She gets treated with no respect or anything, and is talking about by the end of the episode, oh yeah, they're gonna, when she's like a sacrificial lamb, now we gotta find the next young hot person to torment and dehumanize and just use for our stuff and go from there. It's pretty fucked up. It's an interesting episode if you've never seen it. I think it's season 12, episode 2. I know it's season 12 though. I'm almost positive it's season 12. Interesting episode, and it's funny, dark humor and stuff. But if you look at the bigger picture, and especially how things have turned out for Britney Spears over the years, like, damn, this is actually really fucked up that this kind of got it right as to what happened. And I want to talk about this guy. I haven't talked about the Monstro. So the Monstro is, all right, so there was this obviously big fallout and fight between Sue and Elizabeth. Elizabeth got completely rotted and turned into this hag-like form. And Sue is just still young, beautiful, and all that. So Elizabeth decides, you know what? I want to terminate her. I don't want to do this anymore. Look at me. So she decides to do it. She gets the fluid that they send her to terminate her. And whatever she starts injecting with her, almost about to kill her completely, she feels bad because she was that same girl that would do anything and everything to get to where she wants to be. And she has that opportunity. It's her big night. She's supposed to host this New Year's event, and she can do it. So she starts to have regret and tries to like perform CPR stuff to get her to wake up because it's their big goal. Now she's saying, like, this is for us. Like, this is our thing. Like, it's our moment. But then she has this idea, because she's not waking up, to use the blood transfusion thing, which is what they do to like swap sides. So she plugs it into her and it's not working like normal. So she just jacks that shit straight in the heart and goes full Pulp Fiction. And then that's when the blood swaps and it somehow wakes her up, but they didn't swap sides. So now there are two individual people duking it out. And dude, some of the craziest fucking action. I don't know if Sue just has super strength or what, but she fucking goes balls to the fucking wall with Elizabeth, fucking throwing her around, kicking her into some shit, bashing her face into a mirror. It turns to this whole thing. And she eventually does overpower and I believe kill Elizabeth. I think she dies, yeah. And she's kind of fucked up as well, losing her teeth. Her body started to break down in some ways. So now she has the idea, Sue has the idea to use the activator. That is a one-time use, like I said in the beginning of the episode, is a one-time use, and does that to go a third layer deep, or second layer deep. Do you count? Whatever. For her to split off and make another more perfect version of her. And you would think it would work, but no, it doesn't. And instead, it turns into this grotesque humanoid, like just a bunch of shit, dude. You just got to see it. I cannot describe this creature to you. You have to see it. But it is a culmination of like a tumor, boobs, teeth, Demi Moore's face, and fucking Margaret's I don't even know. Kind of face. I don't know. It was all very fucked up, but they're all like this jumbled pile of Play-Doh. And she still wants to go to the ball thing. So now she gets there and she's dressed up and she staples on a picture of her face, of Demi Moore's face on her. So she's like super glowing it. I don't think she staples it. I'm thinking of Deadpool, how he did that with the whole Hugh Jackman thing. But she does that, go there, and everybody, I don't know if it's a dream sequence or not, but when she gets there to the event and starts going past like crew and stuff, everybody's clapping, say, oh, she looks great. When obviously it is very fucking obvious this is a creature. This is the fucking hunchback from Notre Dame, like in a dress with his titties showing, And it's just so much. It's so much. And everybody's treating her like normal. She's able to go up on stage, be around the dancers, no problem until she starts talking. And then the thing falls. And then now all of a sudden, it's like everybody's like, what the fuck is that? I think that is just supposed to be symbolic of, because obviously it's Demi Moore's face in the picture. I think that's symbolic of, well, you're pretty, you're rich, you're famous. What do you have to worry about? What problems do you have going on in your life? Obviously nothing's wrong with you, but clearly there's something is. She could be distressed, crying or whatever, but people, and we do this to celebrities where they talk about the hardest moments of their life and people are like, I mean, you're a celebrity, you live in LA, you got a bunch of money, like, whatever. Why are you crying? Like, yeah, you look great, you look beautiful, blah, 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 blah. What the fuck? Like, you still have problems. They're still a fucking person, you know? And it's like, it's worse for them because they have people watching every aspect of their life. You got fans, you got, you know, you got stans as well who are fucking psychotic and following these people, fucking overbearing, parasocial relationships. And normal people, and I know I just said normal people, but you got celebrities and then people like you and me, the people listening to this, like just your average everyday person, able to experience these things because some people become famous online, whether it be for pictures, content, whatever. You get like just like a little bit of fame and you get people start acting fucking weird to you as well. You get people following you, want to know everything about you. You get like these crazy now you start to get a taste of like, oh shit, this is weird. Not knowing it's way worse for the celebrities. It is fucking hard to be a celebrity, but are there perks? Yes. But then you got so many people in the world who do not give a shit about the shit you're going through because they're just like, you have everything. And it's hard. And I'm on that same page because it's hard. You know, we can't relate to each other, but I know there's a bunch of celebrities who probably have the same issues that I have, you know, and, or somebody else I know. And we're just human at the end of the day. We created this system of celebrities and regular people and so on and so forth. We made all of this. We're the people that fucked it up. But it is what it is. And I don't think there's any going back. It's just how it is. And that's how I see it. I think that's what that meant. And it's so fucking wild. And the movie tries to warn you all over the place because they use so much red and yellow. And red is usually, it's such an enticing and powerful color because we see red, we're attracted to it. You know, there's like a whole science behind colors and the effects they have on people. That's what happens. And red is that it attracts you in. And I think I was talking about this last night with my girlfriend while watching it. There's so much red and yellow. It is on purpose. You do not put this in film by accident. I just don't know the theme. I don't know what's happening. But after thinking about it more, it's like, okay, red is, you know, like people can say like, oh, love, joy, ambition, all these other powerful feelings that attract you. It's attraction, I guess, if you really want to simplify it. And then we have yellow. Yellow, I feel like, is something we did as a society, is caution. That's how I feel. It's meant to like kind of like maybe avoid, maybe to push you back a bit. I feel like that's what they're doing a lot in this film. There's so many scenes of using red and yellow. So I don't know of 100%, but that's kind of my theory that that's what it is. Cause it's a whole bunch of like pulling you in, pushing you away type of deal. That's what I feel is going on like in this a lot. I could be wrong, but I would love to know your theories about the red and yellow. It's so much, but this is by far the longest podcast I've done in a minute. And there's so much to this movie. Like, please watch it. You guys will love it. Oh man, you just got to. And I hope for people who listen to this, who have seen it, who maybe didn't feel it, maybe you starts to turn you around, open up perspective a little bit. Maybe you watch it again. Maybe you feel so, I don't know. You get something, but definitely check it out. It is so good. I don't want to keep you guys any longer than this. I'm really sorry. I try not to make these things too long, but man, there was just so much to say. This is such a good movie, man. I can't recommend this one enough. It's so good. But as I said earlier, my next episode is going to be The Shining. After that, it's going to be Doctor Sleep. I can't wait to cover those. Those might be some long episodes too, just giving you guys a fair warning. But if other stuff happens to get in the way, whether it be work, family stuff, whatever, I hope you guys are having a fantastic holiday season. I hope you're enjoying everything. I wish everyone much love and good vibes. I absolutely love this time of year. And I hope it's a great one for you guys. Your mental health's okay, your family, everything. I wish you guys all the best. And of course, before we go, I got to give you guys your cookies fortune. And I'm going to go with something a little simple, but here it is. There is always something left to love. And that could be anything. That could literally be applied to anything. So please always remember that. But until next time, be excellent, be kind, subscribe to the podcast.